Children, among them preschool learners, were today caught up in the crossfire between the police and charged protesters who engaged in running battles witnessed in various parts of the country. And as Ruth Sarmwe will report in a little while, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Ezekiel Mashugu has rubbished reports of the disruption of learning in some of the schools that were affected by the protests. As I mentioned, we will get that report in a moment. But before then, still staying with the protests, and most businesses in Nairobi remained closed for the better part of Wednesday as the anti-government protests went on, and traders and vendors opted to stay away from their premises for fear of looting and harsh business conditions, as well as for fear of the protesters who engaged the police in running battles. NTV's Brian George with the details of the losses.
The Kenya Private Sector Alliance KEPSA estimates that businesses accrued a loss of 3 billion shillings attributed to the anti-government protests that rocked various towns in the country on Wednesday, led by the opposition Azimio coalition. Matatu operators had commuters struggling to find means of transport after announcing their go-slow a day prior to the mass action.
So it's about 4:30 p.m. in the evening. At the tail end of Kenyatta Avenue that joins into Menti House right there. And as you can see behind me, all the shops there are closed. And even on this street, it will be bustling with a lot of activity. But that is not the situation today because of the protests.
From closed shops and restaurants, vandalism and abandoned streets, the business community countrywide felt the heat of the Wednesday unrest, and some who found themselves on crosshairs with protesters had their shops looted.
Kwa leo naweza sema kusema ukweli, leo biashara imekuwa duni kabisa. Labda hata ukiangalia katika zile maeneo town sasa, kila duka limefungwa. Hata huduma bodaboda leo hakuna mwenye amebeba kutoka asubuhi, wamekaa hapa kutoka asubuhi mpaka hizi masaa, hakuna mwenye amepata customer, manake customer wenyewe wameogopa kuingia town. Na pia ile hisia kuogopa ya kwamba kutakuwa na maandamano imeogofisha watu wengi sana. Hata leo sisi hakuna kitu wanabodaboda wamefanya leo. In this country kila kitu kiko na njia ya kusuluhisha. Maana kwa tuseme hii Kenya saizi suluhisho kubwa la Kenya inajulikana kwamba lazima waandamane ndio wasikike. Lakini kivyangu inatuadhiri sana kama wanabodaboda, but siwezi sema ni kitu mbaya. Manake pia serikali yetu ya Kenya imezoea maandamano ndio isikize.
Kenyan employers have urged President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga to embrace dialogue, saying the demos are impacting the economy negatively. The Federation of Kenya Employers FKE CEO Jacqueline Mugo says anxiety about demos is also affecting the productivity of workers. Brian George, NTV, Nairobi.